steep Widowmaker right here. This is a long-term review of my Specialized Crux. These are the things you'll run into after owning this bike for a long period of time. I've had this bike for a while now. I've done maybe around 4,000 miles on it or so. Road miles, gravel miles, I've done some races on it, and these are the things that I've run into. Kind of the weird quirks and items that you may encounter in owning this bike long-term. Again, this is not like a full review. I have a separate video of my thoughts on the bike, how it rides, who's it for. This is mainly very long-term and the items that you'll run into. One of the first things I'll point out that drives me nuts on this bike is gonna be the actual headset. So I've learned on newer Specialized bikes, the actual headset bearings will compress when you buy it new and ride it for the first couple hundred miles. And the compression results in a gap, a little bit of gap in the headset. And it results in this horrible popping noise whenever you're rough on it or put weight on it or apply pressure, it will pop. And it just drives me nuts. And you would think like, hey, I'll just tighten up the headset bearing and pull it all tight and that'll solve the problem, right? But when you do that, it makes the steering really stiff. So in working with Specialized and working with their mechanics, what I found is they will actually add very small headset washers to fill that gap. They're very thin. We've probably added maybe 4 to 5 of them. It's definitely helped. The popping noise is less, but I can still get it to pop when I start riding or when I'm riding rough terrain. And that headset popping just drives me insane. It's one of those nitpicky things that I really hate about this bike. And no matter what I do, I can't get rid of it completely. So that headset popping can drive you nuts if you really think about it. You know, not a huge deal, but can't be fixed according to the Specialized mechanic I was working with, and you just kind of have to deal with it. So one of the other things I've had happen on this bike is on the bottom bracket, on the non-drive side, they put these little spacers in there to reduce the play in the bottom bracket and the crank so that there's no sway in it. On mine specifically, the little plastic spacer broke. I've never touched the bottom bracket. I've never done anything to it, but that plastic just got oxidized and just broke on me. It's still in there, it still does a little bit, but I'll have to replace it at some point. And I just thought that was dumb, being that I've never touched the bottom bracket, I've never done any maintenance, I've never even looked at it, and it just busted. And now there's a little bit of play in the bottom bracket. They'll move back and forth, nothing major, but I'll have to replace that, even though I've never even touched that piece. So another thing on this that I don't like, there's no chain guard. You can see I've got this like ghetto piece of Scotch tape on here. I've tried a bunch of different things. There's nothing I really like on there, so I keep doing the tape because I can just take it off and put on a new layer. But you would think for a bike that gets ridden in the dirt and the mud, they would at least have mounting points to put a nice chain guard, or that they would come with a chain guard or something. Again, I mainly do it to reduce the grease. I don't want a bunch of grease on here. But yeah, there's no chain guard, nothing to do with this bike specifically, so that's kind of dumb about it as well. I've talked about the brakes a bunch on this bike specifically, the SRAM Rival brakes. Suffice it to say, I hate them, they don't work, they overheat, they make a lot of noise. So that's one of the things that I've had to deal with long term. I'm probably to the point that I'm gonna swap them out soon, but the SRAM Rival brakes are a real disappointment. They don't work very well, they get noisy, they don't work in the mud, they don't work in the dust. They're mainly for road biking. And to put them on a gravel bike, especially a gravel bike that I ride a lot off-road, has been disappointing. So, you know, the brakes are another thing that I don't really love about it. One other sort of weird thing, and I haven't had this on any of my other bikes, but the back wheel bearing went out on me. This was probably self-done. I probably did this on my own. I rode it on a really wet and rainy day down a fast canyon, so I'm guessing the water at high speeds kind of pressure washed that bearing. But I've ridden bikes for thousands of miles and never had to replace bearings, and for some reason on this back wheel, these are the DT Swiss hubs, the bearing went out, which is weird. The front one is fine, it was just that rear one. So I'm guessing it had something to do with that water ride when I got, you know, water pressure in there at high speeds, mainly because it started squeaking after that, and then it was kind of all downhill. But, you know, again, it is a gravel bike, like it should be durable for, you know, rain, mud, dirt, road. So I would imagine, you know, maybe bad luck for me, bad bearings, or just something that I've run into on it. The other thing I'll mention, the tires. So again, these are the Specialized Pathfinders. I have a review on these. They are great. I have never had any issues with them. I've never flatted. I very rarely even have to put air in them. So these tires and this tire and wheel setup has been really good. It's supported me well and I've had no complaints on it. Again, I've run the tubeless for 2+ years now, added very little liquid to it. Very rarely do I have to put air in the tires. And I've ridden some really rough, sharp rocks and terrain on this. So the tire setup has been really nice. I really like that. And it works great on the road. It goes really well on the road and something that I've really enjoyed. One thing I really love on this bike, and this may be hit or miss for you, you may love it or hate it, the front end is incredibly simple. Nothing fancy. There's not like a one-piece handlebar, nothing crazy, no internal cable routing, nothing like that. I love it just because maintenance on the front end, if I want to change spacers, if I want to change headset, if I want to change the stem, it's really easy. There's no internal cables to deal with. I can just unscrew it, slide it off, and change it however I want. And I really love that piece of it. And just along those same lines, the entire bike is a fairly simple bike. There's nothing else really to maintain on it. You have your drivetrain, water bottle holders, but outside of that, there's really nothing to it, and I really enjoy kind of the simplicity of it. Some people look for, those more cutting edge kind of aerodynamic bikes. I really love the way this looks, the simplicity of it, the round tubes. I find it a really good looking bike, easy to maintain, and has been a great experience for me. Yeah, so look, at the end of the day, every bike's gonna have its weird quirks, things you like, things you don't like. I find this bike to be very minimal just because it's kind of a simple design. There's not a lot to it, so the amount of maintenance and things I've had to do in owning this bike is very minimal. The popping in the headset is gonna be the #1 thing that I cannot stand. So if there's a Specialized mechanic out there or someone at Specialized that watches this video, please solve my headset popping noise. It just drives me nuts, and it's one of those things. Outside of that, the bike has been great. It's been wonderful. It's been easy to ride. It goes everywhere. It's super light. This specific build is like 18 pounds, so climbs like a road bike. I can ride it on the dirt. I've really had a good experience with it overall.